So here we are at the Eternal Flame in Lumbini Sacred Garden, and you can see some interesting structures similar to the building housing a very famous statue of the Buddha at Kushinagar, where the Buddha passed away into Parinibbana. And then down the way you will see a statue of baby Bodhisattva Siddhartha with his index finger in the air, announcing that he will attain enlightenment in this lifetime. He spoke as an infant, according to the stories. And then further down you will see the Maya temple, or the building complex where there were ancient monasteries and votive stupas and Bodhi trees, and the location where Siddhartha Gautama, who later became Shakyamuni Buddha, was said to have been born. And then straight down, so you got the flame. Then straight down this canal is the Japanese Shanti Stupa, or Peace Stupa. There's a walking bridge over it. And you've got various motor boats that will travel up and down the canal so that people don't have to walk the entire distance. It's covered in Buddhist flags. I don't know when the Buddhist flags were first created. I don't think that's an ancient thing, but I could be mistaken about that. So here, the Eternal Flame, I believe it's a symbol of peace. It's interesting that it's on a cross shape. But what's interesting about it is that Sir Edwin Arnold, in the late 1800s, he wrote a famous poem about the Buddha called The Light of Asia. And he had come to a number of the sacred locations. I don't know if he came to Lumbini or not, but he definitely went to Bodh Gaya and Sarnath in the late 1800s. And he wrote and reported on Buddhism in a new way, as many of the Europeans had a very negative view of Buddhism. They viewed Buddhism as it was a pessimistic philosophy, a life-denying philosophy, a philosophy of suffering, when it's a philosophy of in a lifestyle of overcoming suffering, according to my understanding. So this is an eternal flame, and it I believe it connects to that poem, The Light of Asia, and symbolizes peace. But it's also interesting because the Buddha himself was an Aryan. The word Aryan means noble, and it's related to words like Ireland and Iran, according to my understanding. I could be mistaken about that, but I've read that a number of places. So the Indo-Aryans had come into South Asia at a very early date and had cousins throughout Central Asia, all the way into China, and then into Iran, and then into Europe. So the Indo-Aryans are, part of the Indo-European language family, which includes Latin and Germanic and Greek. And the sacred fire is very important within the various Aryan the of ancient times. So you still see the Zoroastrians maintain this ancient Aryan tradition of the eternal flame, the sacred fire. And you also see it within the Vedic cultures of the Indo-Aryan peoples. You see it carried on within Buddhist context by the Tibetans, which had many influences not only from Vedic Indians, but also from the Zoroastrians through Tajikistan and Bactria and Kashmir into the Tibetan plateau. And within the Vajrayana context, they have a sacred flame that they use in various rituals, not only amongst the Tibetan Buddhists, but also within the Japanese Buddhists, in Shingon, I believe. And then you also see that within the ancient Chinese expressions of Vajrayana, of Tantric Buddhism. So there are many, and you also see the sacred flame was utilized, like in the hearth temples of the Greeks, and I believe in Rome. So the sacred flame has been utilized in so many societies and still used at a lot of monumental locations. So go ahead and I need to learn more about the various Aryan peoples and the sacred flames. Unfortunately, those words, like the word Aryan has a negative connotation because of the Nazis of the 20th century. So, and perhaps you could actually even see in this cross an abstract swastika. Perhaps it'd be more visible from above and color coded a little bit, but it's interesting to me, which was a symbol of the sun, and has other symbolism to it as well. So, go ahead and draw this to a close, but may we be successful in our seeking of knowledge.